Who are your forwards going to be ahead of the 2024-2025 Premier League season? In this video, I'll be discussing all the best forwards, ranging all the way from Erling Haaland, who comes in at 15 million, a record for an FPL player, all the way down to some of the cheapest forwards, best value forwards. Anyway, before we do get started, I've got a list here of the top performing forwards from last season. So I've collated their goal involvements, and Watkins comes out on top on 37, right above Erling Haaland with 35. Isak 25, so a big kind of break between Watkins and Haaland and Isak. Mateta 23 and Solanke 22. One thing to note though is Watkins didn't take any penalties, so he's finished top for goal involvements without scoring any penalties, which for me is a massive achievement. Potentially this season he could be on penalties because Douglas Luiz has gone to Juventus, but we'll talk more on that in the rest of the video. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe, like the video, and let's get into it.
Yo, listen up, Rue is stepping up the game, where fantasy Premier League runs in his veins. From transfers to captains, he's always on top, guiding you through every game week non-stop. They say Rue got that Salah flow. Welcome to the channel, enjoy the show. Wild cards, free hits with so much vibe. If you're hunting for success, then make sure you subscribe.
Good day, mate. Welcome back to the channel. I'm FPL Rue and welcome back to another FPL video. So like I said, in today's video, I'm going to be going through the best forwards and where to start but the top. The top performing forwards of last season was Ollie Watkins and Erling Haaland. 228 points for Watkins, 217 for Haaland. They obviously do come at different price points, which to me is actually incredible. I don't think Watkins should have been priced higher. Maybe 0.5 higher. I actually think is a good price for Watkins, especially as he, like I said, he's not been on penalties in previous seasons. Haaland comes in at 15 million, which is the highest ever for an FPL player. That we had Omri in the league, we had Ronaldo, we had Gareth Bale, Luis Suarez, so many players, Wayne Rooney, but none of them reached that height. So it's a massive, I guess, deal to have Haaland at 15 million. But we'll talk about Watkins first because he was the highest scoring forward and he was the highest in terms of goal involvements as well. So Ollie Watkins, 37 appearances last season, 19 goals, which is pretty good. Don't get me wrong, it is pretty good. But the thing for Ollie Watkins is his assists, 18 assists, which is absolutely massive. Takes him up to, like I said, 37 goal involvements last season. An incredible mark considering Aston Villa, they finished fourth, but he wasn't on penalties. And yeah, it's just an incredible achievement. Shots, 107, 47 on target. Again, not the greatest, but not bad. Shots in the box, 94, very high. Expected goals was 16.7, so he outperformed his expected stats, which is always good if you own him, but it's just something to, I guess, take into consideration because he, I guess, is scoring shots where he's not expected to score, and we saw that in the Euros. No one expected him to score that goal in the Euros against the Netherlands, and he did. So potentially you could say that means he is a good finisher, but you'd definitely like that to be a little bit higher. Expected assists, 4.02, and he got 18. So again, he's not really matching that expected assist at all, and he's way overperforming, which again is a little bit worrying. But yeah, I'm sure that will pump up in the start of the season. Big chances, 33. So again, that kind of correlates to the numbers. He's not getting that many big chances, but he's still scoring goals. So it means he's probably a very good finisher. Big chances created, 11, and 45 key passes. So stats are not really showing to what Watkins did achieve last season because it was such a big achievement, I feel like. But I do think for 9 million, he's going to be key to a lot of people's teams at some point in the season. Do I think that is now at the start of the season? I don't, to be honest, because West Ham away, Arsenal at home, Leicester away is a tough start. Okay, West Ham, new manager, who knows what they're going to be like in their first game. Arsenal is going to be a tough game for Villa, and then Leicester, again, it's a newly promoted side. You probably fancy Villa to win there, but it is going to be away from home. So I probably wouldn't start the season with Watkins, but definitely one from, I'd say, game week 3 onwards. Next up, we've got Erling Haaland. So 31 appearances, 27 goals, 8 assists. Okay, he didn't reach his heights that he did the season before, but he's still done very, very well. 121 shots with 59 on target. Again, a lot of shots. He's taken a lot of shots, which is always what you want from your striker. Shots in the box, 114, very, very high. Expected goals, this is, I guess, one interesting one. Normally, you'd see a striker, I'd say, underperform their expected goals. I'm saying overperform their expected goals, but Erling Haaland actually underperformed his expected goals. He did miss, from memory, he missed a few sitters last season, and that's probably showing in his stats as to why he was expected to score more. Expected assists, 2.1, and he got 8, which was really, really good. Probably a lot of them were laying off to Foden, and Foden scoring from 30 yards, so that's probably has a big deal to it. 55 big chances, which is incredible. Like, yeah, the amount of chances he missed last season is, to be honest, just a shame, because he probably would have ended up on about 30, 33 goals. But yeah, it's still an incredible season for him. Chances created 6, he's not really a creator, and then key passes 29. But for Man City, it is a tough start as well. Well, we expect it to be a tough start. Chelsea away. I know the last 2 seasons haven't been great, but new manager, it's not the easiest start for Man City, and Man City normally don't start too well. But then they go to Ipswich at home and then West Ham away. So overall, if you look at the 3 as a kind of whole, it is decent fixtures. And after that, Man City don't really have a tough game until, I think it's around, so game week 5, they got Arsenal at home, and then they got Newcastle away in game week 6. So really the first 4 games are pretty good for Man City. And then even after that, they don't play Spurs till game week 12. So Arsenal and then Newcastle in the first 12 game weeks, and then that's it really for tough games. For me, that does look very good. If I was judging both, I'd probably go for Haaland. I know the money is ridiculous, but where else can you guarantee 25 plus goals? Yes, you could argue you can get Watkins, and then you can get someone else with the spare 6 million just to make up that money. But for me, you want Man City coverage. Yes, you could go for Foden, but I don't think he covers it. You could go for De Bruyne, but I don't think he covers it. So for me, if there was a Man City winger potentially that started chipping in with a lot of assists and a lot of goals, then you could argue that put the money there instead. But for me, Haaland is a sure thing. He's going to be first choice captaincy option in most weeks, and I would just pay that money. And Ollie Watkins, definitely for later on in the season. So next up, we do have the players that are just under the 9 million mark. So 8.5 million for Alexander Isak and 8 million for Kai Havertz. Kai Havertz was classified as a midfielder last season. He's now been classified as a forward. So it's changed. It means his, I guess, points are going to be changed as well, because obviously a midfielder got more points than a forward. He also got points for clean sheets. So that is one thing to take into consideration. Whereas last season, Havertz was able to kind of reach more, I guess, points for his position. He actually did end up scoring more points than Isak, who got 8 more points, 180. Isak got 172. But if you look at the stats, Isak clearly outperformed him. We'll start off with Isak though and talk about him a little bit. So 30 appearances, 21 goals, 4 assists. So really, really good season for him. And for me, a lot of them weren't actually start. So I'll get up a few stats about Isak and how many games he actually did start. So he only started 27 of them 30. So 21 goals, 4 assists in 27 starts is ridiculous. It's almost a return a game, which is all you want really. All you want is your players to return every game, then happy days, do you know what I mean? So really, really strong season from Isak. His stats again look very, very good. Expected goals is right up there with what he actually got, which is good, a good sign. It means he is getting in the right positions, getting the right chances. And for me, he is clinical, which is one of the main things that you want from your striker. Yes, you want them to get into a lot of positions, but you want them to finish off their chances. And you know, if Isak gets a chance, you know he's finishing it off. And for me, especially with that start to the season for Newcastle, Southampton at home, Bournemouth away, then they've got Spurs at home. It is a really, really strong start, especially the first 2 games going down, playing 2 South Coast teams, Southampton and then Bournemouth. And I think they're going to want to start the season well, considering last season they didn't really start too well. So Isak for me is, I'd say probably my number one striker for game week one. He's great captaincy option if you wanted to go for it in game week one against the newly promoted Southampton. Then he's got Bournemouth, and then he's got Spurs, who we know are pretty leaky. But yeah, for me, Isak should be in everyone's team. Next up, we've got Kai Havertz. So like I said, he's been moved to a forward now. 13 goals, 10 assists for him, which is okay. If when he was classified as forward, now he's a striker. You have to start judging him like that, and he is a striker for, I guess, the second best team in the league in Arsenal. Shots, again, 69, which is still pretty good. On target, 28. Shots in the box, 62, which is still pretty good, like I said. Expected goals is about his kind of where it should be. Big chances, 24. Again, not great. To be honest, I don't love Havertz's stats. I think it kind of tells a story of him. He is more creative than he is out and out number 9 finisher. And I think that shows in the stats, and I think that shows in how many goals he did end up with. So for me, yes, he's only 8 million. Yes, he's going to be Arsenal starting number 9. But for me, I would stay well clear and probably go for someone else like Isak. Overall, Isak's a much better pick, especially to start the season with. I know Arsenal's fixtures do look half decent. Wolves at home, Villa away, Bournemouth, Brighton at home. But after that, they get terrible. So for me, stay clear of Havertz. I think he's not worth the money. Go for Odegaard or Saka, and then leave the striker spot for someone like Isak, who you know when he does start, he's going to score goals. So next up, we've got 4 players to talk about. So these are all players that do come in at the 7.5 million bracket. So I guess a little bit cheaper than the kind of top tier strikers. To be honest, there's not that many strikers that are priced highly. Obviously, back in the day, you had Harry Kane, people like Suarez, but now they've kind of left the league. It's only really Haaland that is really that kind of premium price. But we've got a load of good strikers at 7.5 million, and there's even some that I've left off this list, but we'll talk about all of them now. But before we do that, my league code is there on the screen. Please join the league. I'm going to be giving out free FPL Roo hats, so top 3 are going to be getting FPL Roo hats at the end of the season. It's not going to be like this. I'm going to be making some nice new hats for you, because I know a lot of people have been asking where can I get one of these hats, and yeah, I'll be making some FPL Roo ones because these are just from an Australian gift shop, so I can't really, I guess, pass them on or go buy them, to be honest, because it was a one-off buy. But yeah, OXGR1M, put that code in, and you'll be able to join my league for free. So first up, we'll talk about Mateta. What a season he had last season, to be honest. If someone said when Patrick Vieira was in charge, when last season, the season before last, then Roy Hodgson came in, that you would say that Mateta would be a good striker, I wouldn't believe you. I thought he was a bang average striker, and did he put me to shame? He was really, really good last season. 16 goals, 7 assists, really solid, and especially at his price point last season. Now he's gone up to 7.5 million. To be honest, I'm not sure. I'm not too sold on it. I think I'd much rather get Eze at 7 million. So for me, I know Palace's fixtures are okay to start the season off. Brentford away, West Ham at home, Chelsea away. But for me, the fact that I can get Eze for 0.5 cheaper, yeah, that just rules out Mateta. Next up, Solanke. Incredible season again for Solanke. There were some really good strikers last season that put in a solid kind of 15 plus goals, and Solanke was one of them. And especially for a Bournemouth side that, I guess, are not the best in the league. They had an incredible season, to be honest. So definitely, yeah, one of their best players and one of the kind of the best players from, I guess, 10th in the league downwards. His shots are one of the ones that I want to highlight on this kind of graphic. 109 shots, incredible. Just to put that into context, Isak was 78 shots. Haaland, who was the top goal scorer, 121 shots, so a little bit higher. Ollie Watkins was less, 107 shots. So 109 shots is very good. Remember, if you don't take shots, you can't score. So, and especially his expected goals, it's around the same as his goals, which just shows like he is getting chances and he is putting them away. And for me, you want your striker to be taking shots. And for me, I think I think the start of the season is okay for Bournemouth. Brentford away, Newcastle at home, Everton away. But I just don't love the start. But I do think he is a good option if you did need someone at that 7.5 million mark where you can probably leave them to kind of play every game. I know Solanke did well against all teams last season, to be honest, but I just don't love the start for Bournemouth. Like I said, Forest away, Newcastle at home, Everton away. Then they got Chelsea at home, Liverpool away. So really, really tough start for them. But if you want someone that you can keep in all season, I think Solanke can be that striker. Next up, Ivan Toney. Obviously, missed a large chunk of the season due to his ban. He came back, he scored 4 goals, and after that, he just looked, to be honest, not great at all. I think with Ivan Toney, I think if he stays at Brentford, he can be value at points of the season, especially the start, to be honest, because I really do like Brentford's fixtures. They start the season with Crystal Palace at home, then they got Liverpool away, which is tough, but then they got Southampton at home. So good 2 home games to start the season off, but after that it is a tricky run for Brentford. Don't get me wrong, Man City away, Spurs away, West Ham at home, then they got Wolves and Man United. So not the best for me. If Ivan Toney does move to another club, maybe a Spurs, maybe a Man United, probably not Man United now, but maybe a Spurs, then 7.5 million is going to be an absolute bargain. You know he's going to be on pens, etc., etc. But for now, for Brentford, again, I wouldn't go there personally. Next up is Nicholas Jackson. So, funny enough, about a year ago today, someone told me, I was on FPL Juice, that Nicholas Jackson's had an incredible pre-season, and I kind of laughed and said, "Yeah, great, but it's just pre-seasons." And to be honest, the start of the season he did look really, really bad, but he kind of shut me up towards the end of the season. He ended up on 14 goals, 6 assists, which is not bad for his first season in the Premier League. And if you look at his expected goals, they're over what he actually scored. So he should have scored at least 4 more goals than he did. And to be honest, we know that with the amount of chances he missed some absolute sitters. And for me, with Nkunku back, with Palmer playing how he is, with the new manager, I think Jackson is a wait and see, and they start the season with Man City. So for me, I'd wait and see on Jackson, because you could potentially see Nkunku play up front, and yeah, Jackson's minutes will be reduced. So Jackson's a wait and see. I think Tony's a wait and see. Solanke's probably my favourite, but Mateta, I think I'd rather Eze. So for me, out of these 4, I'd probably pick Solanke as the favourite, as the best one to go for. So next up are some of the, I guess, best cheap forwards. So they're coming at 6 million. We've got Chris Wood and Dominic Calvert-Lewin, both at 6 million, both having different seasons last season. Obviously, Calvert-Lewin, we know, has struggled with injuries of late. For the past, 3, 4 seasons, he's really, really struggled. I'd say he hasn't really been at his top level since the 2020-2021 season, where he got 16 goals and 6 assists. Since then, 5 goals, 2 assists, 2 goals, 1 assist, 7 goals, 3 assists. So, yeah, not the best 3 seasons, I'd say, last 3 seasons for Calvert-Lewin. Chris Wood, to be honest, he had a really, really good season last season. 14 goals, 1 assist. And I didn't really see that from him. 31 appearances, but he only started 20 games, which for me is a very, very good return. 15 goal involvements in 20 starts is very, very good. These two, I think it does boil down to the fixtures. So the only reason I would be going Chris Wood is because I do really, really like Nottingham Forest's fixtures to start the season with. They do start, like I said, with, well, I didn't say, but now I'm going to say, with Bournemouth at home, Southampton away, Wolves at home. So really, really good start. 2 home games. You're playing a newly promoted side. You're playing Bournemouth and Wolves. I think it's a very, very good start. One thing, though, is Awani is back from injury. So will he take Chris Wood's space? You potentially could see that. But Chris Wood did actually perform well last season. So who knows? They could keep the faith in him. But for me, if we do get an inkling that he is going to start the season, then he could be a very, very nice third striker to allow you to afford someone like Haaland. Next up, Dominic Calvert-Lewin. 7 goals, 3 assists last season. It's not great, is it? It's not great. I know he started 26 games, but still, 10 returns in 26 games is not looking good at all. He should have got 12.8. He says expected goals, which means he is underperforming. He's not finishing his dinner. He's not putting his chances away. And for me, stay clear. Just stay clear. It's not worth it with Calvert-Lewin. He hasn't shown anything in the last 3 seasons to say that he's going to be performing well. And he starts the season pretty tough, I'd say. Bournemouth at home and Brighton at home. Spurs away, Bournemouth at home. Then they got Villa away, Leicester away, Palace, Newcastle. So I'd say a tough start, but it is a mixed bag. You're expecting Everton to win a few of these games. But for me, I would stay clear of Calvert-Lewin. If you are looking for a 6 million forward, go for Chris Wood. Before we do wrap up the video though, if you want to look at more graphic like this, rate your team with AI as well. So I managed to get my team rating done with Fantasy Football Hub. So if you wanted to do that as well, scan the QR code on the screen or click the link in the description. Obviously, if you do end up signing up to the membership, it does help me out, helps the channel out, it allows me to keep growing and growing. And yeah, I appreciate anyone that does do that. And yeah, send me a message if you do, and then I'll make sure you get one of these hats when they do come out. But other than that, thanks for watching. Good luck with picking your teams and with picking your forwards, and I'll catch you in the next video.